Okay, so the next question says eating a lot of eggs and proteins helps one to build muscle mass.
Okay. Now, eating a lot of eggs and protein actually has a good impact when it comes to muscle mass. But then, just like we said, that is just one angle of it. That is just the positive side of it. But then we have to look at an all-encompassing factors. But it's not just one factor when we need to consider when it pertains to food. Okay, like now we know that in eggs we also have is a source of cholesterol. Cholesterol is gotten from egg, and then too much of this cholesterol in the body may equally pose a health risk, especially for people that have cardiovascular health issues. Okay, that is one aspect you need to look at. And in every individual, there's a egg or protein allowance that is to be apportioned to an individual. Like for my own, like let's say for instance, for my own self or for your own self, before we can determine your protein intake, we need to assess you and okay, this is your protein requirement for the day before we can now work it out from not just using different food, not just egg alone. But when we are going for egg, apart from the cholesterol that is high in the egg, saturated fat, though it may somehow be low in egg, but then consuming this egg continuously every time it will now build up the saturated fat, and that may be high in the body. Then apart from that, there are some nutrients that eggs may not really be good sources of.
Okay.
May not really be rich source, though they may have it in limited amount. Something like iron. Egg is not a very good, it's not a rich source of iron. Things like calcium,
Okay.
things like vitamin C,
Okay.
even dietary fiber.
Okay.
These are concerned when it comes to egg. Okay. Then apart from that, we may also look at other macronutrients. We are looking at protein now. Sometimes there may be a kind of protein sparing action. Let's say, for instance, let's look at born patient. You know, there's some patient I manage before I go there. Other health professional will now go there and recommend like 10 eggs or a high source of protein. And when they are giving this patient or this client protein or egg, as the case may be, they don't really consider the total caloric intake of this patient. So at the end, the patient they may just be more concerned on the protein intake of this patient, or they may try to use egg to supply protein to this patient, and at the end of it, the protein will now be used to supply energy because this person does not really, there's no protein sparing action.
Okay.
I don't know whether the audience will understand what I'm saying.
So the protein will not end up doing the main
work of
in a
energy, in a pump patient. So in that case, there need to be substantial amount of other nutrients like carbohydrate, like a fat. So the last thing I we said was a kind of a protein sparing action that other macronutrients like carbohydrate, like the fat need to be considered, and the person need to be balanced up so that the protein will not end up performing the work of a calorie intake. Then apart from that, eating too much protein and too much egg can equally lead to loss of calcium. And that may lead to bone problems and other osteoporosis issues. Very, very important. And also taking too much egg or too much protein without considerable amount of water intake can equally lead to dehydration. And that may pose a serious health risk. So in conclusion on this aspect, when we are taking protein, a person supposed anyone on protein need to be assessed so that we now know the protein requirement for the day, so that we now be able to like avoid cardiovascular health risk, kidney health risk, and osteoporosis issues, dehydration, and other overall health risks. So on that case, an expert, especially registered dietitian nutritionist, need to assess the patient and place the patient on the protein need per day, and also know the right sources of this protein to be given to such patients.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I know if we leave you, you keep on going on and on and on, but we have other myths we need to debunk. So the next question on our list is,
Okay, this one says you can eat whatever you want, but then exercising consistently will help you not to gain weight. Like some persons believe they can eat whatever, then they just burn it out by exercising.
Okay. Okay.
is that one funny?
It's very, very funny that you can eat. Like I even saw there's one person that came to me I think he want to advertise some supplement or some drugs or some things like that. And he was telling me, you don't even need to worry about what you are eating. Just eat whatever you eat. This supplement, this tablet will equally help you to burn the fat.
Serious.
And I was like, are you for real? No, that is not really correct. That is a controversial one on that aspect. Okay? We still need to control whatever we are eating, and we still need to embark on the exercise. Apart from that, there are so many factors that can equally contribute to like weight gain and weight loss. What about aging?
Okay.
But by the time you are growing old, we have the metabolism will become slower.
Okay.
And on that case, you may equally put on some weight. What about genetic factors?
Okay.
Yes, even if you like exercise, the like gene contribute to our weight gain and weight loss. So if you like, don't really eat much or exercise all that you could, you may still find that you are still gaining some weight. Okay. So on that aspect, there are so many factors we need to consider. So we don't need to just neglect our dietary pattern. Okay. We still need to be mindful of whatever we are eating, and we still need to consider physical activity. What about in the case of some certain medication? Yeah, some certain medication can equally make one to put on weight or equally make one to lose weight. So apart from your food intake, which we need to guide and also consult an expert, apart from engaging on the enough physical activity, we still have things like medication. We still have things like aging, increased age. We still have things like sleep, adequate sleep. Like if you deprive yourself of sleep, you may end up gaining some certain amount of weight. So all these things. What about genetic predispositions? Okay. All these things are the factors we need to like consider. What about if you have underlying health issues? Yes, underlying health issues. What about the change in lifestyle? All this need to be put into the equation before we can talk of weight gain or weight loss.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you on that one. So the next question on our list is.
So this one says, eating late at night and drinking too much water makes one to gain weight.
Eating late at night, I think is